such short notice, I'm amazingly encouraged that people do actually read the emails. But I really appreciate it. I didn't actually have much doubt, because as I think probably most people here know, only a few years ago we had, I think, probably about 500 people walking from one end of Haslemere to the other, marching in support of this amazing hospital. And we've got much greater medical experts than me, like Nicky Lee here, who is constantly saying what I think we all need to remind the health authorities, that this is a shining example of the NHS at its very best. The way that we've got the minor injuries unit, the hospital with the rehabilitation beds, the specialist beds for people with neurological injuries, and the GP surgery right next door. So it's a centre of excellence for the local population, and it absolutely reflects what people want, which is top quality NHS services near where they live. And particularly for older people, if you're not well, you want to go somewhere where you know you can be visited easily by your friends and relatives, and that actually helps you get better. Now, what seems to happen time and time again is that the hospital comes under threat, the people of Haslemere stand up and say that's not acceptable, and then the health authorities back down. And it seems to be impossible to have a permanent end to this battle, but we just have to keep fighting. I just want to say that although we are in the middle of an election campaign, this isn't a party political thing, and I think what's made these campaigns successful is that we've had support from people from all parties and all parts of the community at every stage. And so, you know, anything that we say, even though we're in an election campaign, I want to make that clear that this is something that involves all parties. As far as the minor injuries unit is concerned, I'm absolutely astonished that it's even being considered to reduce the opening hours of the services being offered. I remember that a couple of years ago I did a survey of the whole of Haslemere, and I asked people whether they agreed that we should try and extend the opening hours of the minor injuries unit. And when I went and spoke to the head of the primary care trust about it, he said that they had tried to do that as an experiment, but they'd found that it wasn't terribly well used. And I said, well, how many people actually knew that it was open for extended hours? And he promised me that he would re-look at it. Unfortunately, he has now left that job, and in fact we seem to get through a lot of bosses of primary care trusts in this part of the world. But let me just tell you that the response I got to that survey about what people wanted for Haslemere Hospital was so huge that was the one day the House of Commons authorities told me I actually got more mail than David Cameron. That's just from a town of 12,000, so I think that's a very good sign. So anyway, we've got to have this fight, and obviously if I'm elected I will continue, and if I'm not elected I will support all of you in continuing on that fight, because I know it's so important. Thank you very much for coming. And what I think we'd really like to do is just to take a big photograph